And if you keep practicing that and stay consistent with it, you will be well on your way to your first pull-up. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. If any of you guys have started your calisthenics journey, you guys will realize that learning the push-up is a lot easier than learning the pull-up. And if you can relate to that, you're not alone. Out of all the basic calisthenic movements, including push-ups, bodyweight squats, dips, and pull-ups, most people struggle the most to learn the pull-up. Pull-ups tend to be one of the hardest bodyweight exercises for beginners to learn, and it's not just about strength. There are real biomechanical reasons why pull-ups feel a lot harder than, for say, the push-up. And today I'm going to break it down in a way that actually makes sense and give you guys some strategies to help learn your first pull-up in a more efficient way. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you guys 5 real reasons why the pull-up is so hard, and at the end, I'll give you guys some tips to help you get to your pull-up journey faster. Reason number 1, you are pulling your entire body weight. Let's start with the obvious. In a push-up, you're actually only pushing up only about 60 to 70% of your entire body weight. And that's because your feet are planted on the ground while doing a push-up. But in a pull-up, you are pulling your entire body weight vertically with no support. So since you are pulling your entire body weight in a pull-up, it makes sense that that movement is a lot harder than the push-up. Reason number 2, our pulling musculature tends to be a lot weaker than our pushing musculature for a lot of people. A lot of people tend to train pushing muscles more than pull muscles, such as push-ups, bench press, pushing a cart, pushing a door open, pushing to get off the ground. There's a lot of activities of daily life that revolve around pushing, and sometimes, not all the time, our pulling muscles can get a little bit neglected. This obviously depends case by case, but if you don't have any sport-specific background, there's a good chance that your push is a little bit stronger than your pull. But pulling requires a lot of your posterior delts, your lats, biceps, and a lot of your scapular stabilizer muscles. And for a lot of people, these muscles are very undertrained. So that's why when you first attempt to pull up, you're giving your body a very, very new stimulus, and it doesn't really know exactly what to do. Point number 3 has to do with stability. Now, before you guys jump ahead, yes, the pull-up is considered a stable exercise because you are in a closed chain movement where the pull-up is fixed in a bar. So yes, in that terms, it is a very stable exercise. However, if we compare it to the push-up, there is an important difference there worth noting, which explains why the push-up tends to be a little bit easier. Now let's think about the push-up. We have 4 points of contact with the floor on a push-up. We have both of our hands and we have both of our feet, and those points of contact give us a lot more stability. Whereas in a pull-up, the only points of contact that we have are just our hands on the bar. You're just hanging from the bar, which means that you have to activate a lot more stabilizer muscles, such as your core, your glutes, etc., to keep your body still and rigid while you're suspended in the air. All those muscles have to stay engaged so that you're not swinging on the bar. And that makes a big difference from a biomechanical standpoint, because when you have to work so hard to stabilize and balance yourself, our bodies don't like to output as much force as possible because we're so focused on stabilizing and balancing. So in a push-up, we have 4 points of contact, so we are very stable, allowing us to exert more force into the ground. But in a pull-up, since we only have 2 points of contact, we're working extra hard to stabilize our body from hanging and swinging in the air, and on top of that, trying to activate our back musculature, our pulling musculature, to pull ourselves up and above the bar. So when it comes to balance and stabilizing, people really underestimate how much this affects our strength output. So that's a big factor to consider on why pull-ups are harder than push-ups. Point number 4, progressions can be a little bit more complex on pull-up compared to a push-up. When it comes to progressing in push-ups, it is very, very straightforward. We can start on the wall and do wall push-ups, then do incline push-ups on an incline surface to our chest level, and then lower that incline to our hip level, and then we can do push-ups on our knees, and then finally unlock the full push-up. Pull-ups have a lot more variety in them. There's, pull-up negatives, there's resistance band pull-ups, jump pull-ups, and a lot of the times beginners don't know exactly where to start. Since push-ups, you just start very incline and go down. Pull-ups, you can do that, but it can be a little bit more complicated. So that's why a lot of beginners just try and jump straight on the pull-up and just spam attempts, feeling as if that's the correct way to do a pull-up. There's no obvious next step, which can be a pretty big barrier for people to achieve their first pull-up. After my final point, I'll show you guys some proper progressions for the pull-up, so make sure you stay to the end of the video and watch. Point number 5, last but not least, your grip strength. Even if your arms and back are strong enough to do a pull-up, if you can't hang from a bar with your entire body weight for long periods of time, you won't even get a chance to do a full rep. Grip strength is one of the biggest limiting factors for beginners. And not even just beginners, even when it comes to intermediate and advanced athletes, our grip tends to give out first before our back and biceps do. So in order to learn the pull-up, you can't negate your grip strength. You can really test this out by just trying to hang on a bar for a solid 30 seconds. If you can't hang from the bar for even 30 seconds, then there's a very big chance that that could be a very limiting factor for you. So if this is a limiting factor for you, start training your grip strength. You can do this by just ending your pull sessions with just hanging on the bar for as long as you can for 3 sets. And if hanging for even like 5 to 10 seconds is too hard for you, you can just hang with your feet on the floor to give you some extra support, or hanging with a resistance band to help you out. So the key takeaways: no, it's not just because you're weak. You're just asking your body to do something it's not fully ready for yet. The pull-up challenges your strength, grip, coordination, and control all at once. And that's a lot to demand from your body for a beginner, but that's also why it's so worth it, because once you get your first rep down, that means you earned it. So I gave you guys these 5 barriers to why you can't do your first pull-up. So what should you do instead of just jumping onto that pull-up bar and failing over and over? This is where point number 4 is really important: finding the right progression that works for you. Start by doing bodyweight rows, aka Australian pull-ups. You can use a lower bar or a table or 2 chairs, something that allows you to get under and pull at a little bit more of an incline/decline, and working up to be able to do 3 sets of 12 repetitions. If you can do about 3 sets of 12 repetitions for Australian pull-ups, you have developed some pretty good strength for your pulling musculature. Once you're able to do that, then what you can do is you can go to a pull-up bar and start doing variations of assisted pull-ups. This can include banded pull-ups to help you out, or just focusing on the eccentric portion of the pull-up bar by either jumping up and controlling the way down, or grabbing a chair to step above the pull-up bar and then slowly lowering yourself. And while you do that, you can also mix in banded pull-up variations to be able to get the full movement pattern in with some assistance. And if you keep practicing that and stay consistent with it, you will be well on your way to your first pull-up. And while you do these progressions, keep point number 5 in as well, which is your grip strength. Finish off all of your pull workouts with a set of dead hangs. It takes less than 3 minutes, and if you do it consistently in all your pulling sessions, your grip strength will exponentially improve. I highly recommend that you don't start your workouts with dead hangs, because if you do that, you'll just fry your grip strength out, and you won't be able to get quality repetitions in with banded pull-ups, Australian pull-ups, etc. So I always recommend people to end off with dead hangs. If you're going to train your grip strength, just end the session off with it. So build the foundations first, and your first pull-up will come. Now, if you want a simple beginner-friendly routine to start building your pull strength today, I do have a free 3-day training course that I offer, completely free. It includes sample workouts, focuses on building a workout habit, and helps beginners get started on their fitness journey. It uses 15-minute short and sweet workouts, and if you want a little bit of guidance, this course is made for you. It also includes habit trackers to track your workout, and mindset coaching to help you ditch the all or nothing mentality when it comes to fitness. So click the link in the description below if you are interested. There's over 300 people that have signed up for this course already, so make sure to secure your spot. But other than that, that's gonna wrap up today's video. Leave a comment down below. I'd be curious if you can do a pull-up, and if you can't do a pull-up, which one of these 5 points do you think is your biggest barrier to learning the pull-up? I have more pull-up videos coming my way on this channel, so make sure you guys subscribe so you guys don't miss it. Hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more calisthenics tips and videos, and I hope to see you guys in another video of mine. Peace.